Hi. Okay, so this is my first video, and it's taken a lot of courage to come out and speak about this. My journey has been very interesting, to say the least, and so I wanted to teach this Yeshua 2.0 modality because I've been getting just an incredible amount of feedback and response in so many private messages. I filled up all of the 10 sessions, the spots, gosh, within 24 hours. So I want to teach this modality to everyone who's ready to go ahead and just install them on your own. If you don't have any weird Jesus issues or hang-ups, then you're pretty much ready to get going. But if you've got some weird religious issues, then I definitely suggest some one-on-one sessions. And let's clear that. So the urgency that I'm feeling, hi sweetie, the urgency that I'm feeling is, okay, so this Lion's Gate is opening, and I don't know too much about that. All of my spiritual awakening has been private for the most part, in some groups. I don't follow any gurus or follow anyone else. My guides have completely asked me to surrender to my own visions and my own awakening so that I can get new information and not be on not someone else's journey, but my own. Okay, so the Jesus stuff. So I couldn't call him Jesus. I had some weird Jesus programming from Catholicism, very weird Jesus programming. So my story starts with when I was little. I think I was 6 or 7 years old, and my mom she tells me this as well. She recalls this and has put stuff in my baby book and stuff. But when I was little, I had an imaginary friend that I used to be able to see and speak with telepathically. And I wasn't sure if it was real or not. I was, 6, 7 years old. I thought it was an imaginary friend, because that's what we would call him. So anyway, so I would be able to see eyes and long hair and on occasion a beard, and I would get very confused. And I would ask, "Are you a girl or a boy?" And he would say, "Don't worry about it. I'm just a friend." And my mom would notice, doors would shut or things would happen or the radio station would move, change channels, or these little things. And she always told me that she never thought it was anything bad. It was benevolent, whatever it was. So she encouraged it and was cool with it. And so when I started going to Catholic school, I put 2 and 2 together, that the imaginary friend I was seeing, the entity I was seeing, was this guy on the cross. And that was very, very upsetting to me, seeing him up on the cross. And I was very confused because the Catholic school would teach that I had something to do with his death. And I really didn't understand that, being in 2nd and 3rd grade, that I had anything to do with his death or anything. So I got a lot of really weird programming from that. And after that experience, I went through a time where I was really having a problem with connecting with this energy that wanted to connect with me. I knew it was this dude on the cross, and I knew that somehow I had something to do with his death and with his murder, with his crucifixion, and the guilt and shame that was being programmed into me from the church was very upsetting. Thank you. It was very upsetting, and I remember I was at a sleepover, and I was sleeping over at a girlfriend's house. It was in 2nd grade, and she had her family, they were devout Catholic, and they had this huge life-size crucifixion made out of leather and gore. It was just horrific. And their stairwell, when you went up the stairs, there was this just life-size crucifixion of Jesus. And I remember in the middle of the night, I came down to get a glass of water, and I went down the stairs, and when I came back up, I sat at the foot of this crucifixion and just bawled my eyes out, because this was the imaginary friend I used to always see, and here he's being crucified, and he's all bloody and gory, and his eyes are rolling back in his head. I mean, it was just horrific. So hi sweetie. So I sat at the feet at 2nd grade, sat at the stairs and just wept and just bawled and didn't understand everything that was being programmed and taught by the church, and then also connecting with this energy that I really liked. I really enjoyed being with him, and he kept me out of danger, kept me out of harm's way, or, everything was great. But then I would see him on the cross, and it was just way too much for me to handle. So I told him telepathically, he was sitting next to me on the stairs when I saw him, and I said, "I know that's you." And he said, don't look at that. That was 3 days of my life. And I know that's all you guys ever talk about, think about, discuss. He said, but my legacy is so much more than that. And, you know, being in second grade, I really couldn't comprehend what was going on. So I asked him to leave me alone. And as someone who respects free will at any age, he did. He left me alone. And he said, I'll always be here, but you need to call me when you're ready to have a relationship with me again. And I forgot to call him for 30 years. And things got really hard after so many years without him. So I want to say within a couple of weeks, I got a neighbor of ours from across the street lied to me and told me she had my parents' permission to take me and go and spend the day with her. And she wasn't anyone that we really hung out with. So she kidnapped me and took me and had me call her mom all day long. It was very scary. And I could feel inside of me that I should not be talking to her, but I didn't have him telling me, run, Molly, run, like he used to. I tuned him out. I completely tuned him out and asked him to leave me alone, and he respected that. So I tuned out his channel. So I got hurt by that, and then another neighbor started stalking me, and this was my friend's dad started to stalk me, and he ended up getting me into his house one day and molesting me, and that sucked. And I had a lot of shit from that for a long time. I'm already sweating because I'm channeling so much. So these were all things that happened to me, and I was very angry at Jesus. I was very angry at the church. I was very angry at God for letting these things happen to me. But now that I am able to pull up all of my Akashic records on my own and look at them, I'm able to see that the reason all these things happened were obviously part of my mission and I do have clothes on, by the way. I know it looks like I'm naked. I promise I'm not. Anyway, so I was very angry at him, and I held a lot of animosity, and I was very against God, and I was very against Jesus, and had a lot of weird programming from the Catholic Church and through my experiences. And I'm very thankful for all of these experiences now, because I'm able to relate to a lot of people and bring some clarity, bring some unity, shift people, awaken people, and do some really, really cool stuff. I know I'm rambling. I'm trying to have this go very, very smoothly. I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself. So anyway, so I wanted to teach these two modalities. 30 years went by. My life was shit. It was very, very difficult. I was constantly suicidal. I was constantly depressed. I'd gone through some really shitty stuff. It was very, very difficult. And about a year ago, I tried to kill myself again. I had another very serious attempt. But nothing happened. And not that I'm encouraging anyone to go try this, but I took a bunch of pills, and it was 3 days beforehand. I'd had a very big Reiki session with a very huge energy. It was my first ever like real Reiki session one-on-one. And Yeshua shows me that I had invoked him at that time and kind of connected with him, and that he saved my life. I never lost consciousness. I took a shitload of pills, just a shit ton, wrote a suicide note and everything. I never lost consciousness. Nothing ever affected me. I never even got drowsy. And I struggled with that. Like, I was like, I can't even kill myself. How horrible, you know? So, and I have a husband and a son, and I was, I was so depressed and hearing all sorts of voices, good and bad. And the bad ones were, they breach your free will, and they interrupt your thoughts, and they plague your brain, and they tell you to do really horrible things because they want to derail your mission. And my mission is to help people, to love people, to have them love themselves, and to find your epic missions so that we can go build all of our empires together. So that's been my journey, is awakening to all of these things. And I have crazy things happening now, just really, really cool. Like, I really love my life, and things are really, really fun. Every morning I wake up, and I'm very excited with all the things that I'm doing. All of these ideas have come to me that they did not exist a year before. All the TV shows that we're writing, the movies that we're writing, the chakra drinks and the chakra nutrition concept that I've come up with, these apps that I'm writing, these downloads of information, this new diamond twin flame information. These were all things that my guides really wanted me to get all of this information on my own. So I had this awakening, and I would just lay in bed, and I would want to watch videos of what other people are doing and other people that are awakening. And I would hear my guides say, please don't watch those videos. We're going to give you your own messages, and we kind of need you to not think on anyone else's visions, you know, have your own. So I respected that and I followed that, and I got really, really cool information. I mean, just really mind-blowing stuff, and it's been an incredible journey. And my husband has been just my biggest fan, biggest supporter, and it's been really, really nice because we had a lot of issues for many years with my false depression, and I'll get into that another day about false depression. And my mom too, she's a huge supporter of mine. So anyway, I know I'm spinning in circles here. I get so much information and they go in all different directions. But they all wrap back around, I promise. If anyone knows anything about downloads, they're spirals, spirals of information. So anyway, 8 months ago, I was walking. I forced myself to get out of bed. I was very, very depressed. I was laying in bed all the time, just so sad and despondent and not knowing what I was doing. I was having nonstop panic attacks. That's another thing too. 2 years ago, I had a complete PTSD flashback of when I was in that guy's house. And my whole room changed. It completely freaked me out. I had to close my company down. I had a very successful video company for 10 years, and I had to close it down because I was having nonstop panic attacks and was really suicidal and scared and having flashbacks and PTSD stuff. So that was the beginning of my spiritual awakening, which I'll go into another video about that because I've seen all the Akashic records for that as to how that transpired, which is really cool. And so about 8 months ago, I was on a walk with my son, forced myself to get out of the bed. I have a divot in my bed for how long I laid there for 2 years healing myself with Yeshua. And I got out of bed one day, forced myself out of bed, and we walked down to the park. And while we were walking down to the park, Yeshua showed up. This same imaginary friend that I used to see when I was little showed up again. And I said to him telepathically, I go, "Where the fuck have you been?" And he laughed. He goes, "I have been here the whole time you turned around. And I am still here. I don't always be here." And I said, "Okay, well, don't go away again because I need you." And I told him all of this telepathically. I said, "Okay, I'm taking my son to the park right now. Don't disappear. I need to talk to you." And he laughed and he smiles and he laughs a lot. He just has this big smile and there's a twinkle in his teeth. And he was like, "I'm here. Whenever you need me, we'll talk. Let's talk." So I took my son to the park and then came home, and I really started to have conversations with him, like really profound conversations, things I did not know. All of a sudden I could literally explain everything in the Bible, and I'd never even read the Bible. If you're a Catholic, you know you don't ever read the Bible. You read 4 little passages, you don't know anything about anything. So I started reading the Bible and not even reading it. I think pieces of it just started coming into my head. Because I remember telling my husband one day shit about the Bible and just making sense and all the riddles. Because I know Yeshua and Jesus, everything's in riddles, and it's very hard to understand what he says. He still speaks in riddles, and I give him shit for it. But he shows me everything in visions. So then he'll show me a riddle and then tell me a riddle and then show a vision along with it, and I'll get a big download of information that goes with it. So anyways, I know I'm talking and talking and talking. I'm trying to get as much information out as I can. Okay, so the modalities that we finally learned. So I had to do a lot of cleanup with his energy. I did not feel worthy of his energy. I was very angry at him also. I felt like he abandoned me. We were able to pull up those Akashic records and see that he never left me, and that he also protected me because the guy that molested me was gonna try to kill me. And we were able to move out of the neighborhood really quickly. We had something catastrophic happen with my dad and his work, and we had to move across the country. And I was shown in some of the Akashic records that the guy was freaking out that I was going to report him and that he was going to get in trouble. So I saw in the Akashic records that he was, going mental. He was going to end up killing me somehow, strangling me and getting rid of me. So I was able to escape. So I was very thankful for that. And I'm thankful for all my experiences because I'm able to relate to a lot of people. I know a lot of people have been sexually abused and hurt, and everyone has some sort of abandonment issue. You've been through something in your life and you feel completely alone. And I've been through so many things that I feel like I've been alone, that I'm able to connect with a lot of people and show them that they've never been alone, and they're not alone still. So it took a really long time, obviously, for me to trust this dude again. And I'm a huge pain in the ass, and I like that I am, because I want all the answers and I want everything to make sense so that I can explain it to other people. If anyone hits a block and I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I've never hit that before. If someone comes up with something that I have not experienced or understood, I'm able to pull some of these Akashic records, which is very weird. Very cool though. But there are all these visions, and I'm able to kind of break down some barriers. So these are the 2 modalities. So now we're finally getting somewhere. Okay, I might have to edit this video. So these are the 2 modalities that we learned. So finally, so I want to say about 10 months ago, Yeshua started when he showed, well, I guess it was 8 months ago after he showed up. And then shortly after that, he started encouraging me to take baths and not showers. Take a bath, take baths. So I was like, all right, so I took baths, and then I noticed that the water really amped up my gifts. The water is a conductor and amplifier of channeling and any kind of psychic gifts. So I would sit in the bathtub and, you know, put in salts and stuff like that and really amp it up, and I would have very long discussions with him in there, just telepathically and with visions, and clearing up a lot of my shit and clearing up what I thought was his shit, but was really, you know, faulty programming from any of the churches and religions and stuff, and, you know, false rumors, legacy, whatever, you know. So this past time, and he used to call it a soul bath. So I want to say it was 2 months ago. He was encouraging me to go take a bath. I was feeling really, really depressed, and just he was, let's go take a bath. Let's go have a talk. And I'm like, okay. So I got in the bathtub, and I'll have like 2-hour channeling my recorder. So sometimes I'm hesitant to take a bath because I can't stop channeling. So I was sitting there in the bathtub, and I said, you know, I'm feeling like I need to rebaptize myself. And since I have major issues with religion and churches, I really don't want to go to a church and baptize myself, but I feel like I need to get the Catholic stink off me. He apologized for that. He said, yeah, the Catholic Church is basically the Church of Satan. And if you are ever at a church where I am strung up in my... Are we back? It says my connection's weak. I think I'm blowing the server. All right, are we back? Is it going? All right, let's see if this stays. Okay, so anyways, he said, if you ever see me strung up in my underwear at a church, run, that is not my church. And I was like, all right, good call. So I felt like I really needed to rebaptize myself. I was baptized as a child into this Catholic church, and, you know, kind of against my free will. Mom, I love you anyway. But anyway, so I was feeling that I needed to rebaptize myself, yet I was not keen on checking out any of these man-run churches, you know? So he said, let's go take a bath. And I looked at him and I said, can I baptize myself? Like, can you do this? Can you help me? And he was like, yeah, let's do that. So he was encouraging me to baptize myself. He's very much into empowerment. If you've worked with me, Anna, you know, he's very much into empowering you and not empowering him. It's empowering you to be the best you. Since you are God and God is you and God is everything, then it's all about empowering ourselves and making the most of this time right now. So I'm sitting in the bathtub, and he's sitting to the left of me, because whenever I'm learning something, he's to the left of me. So I'm sitting to the left of me, and I said, okay, show me what it looks like to be baptized. And he says, okay, so plug your nose, put your head back in the water, and open your eyes through the water and try to see, you know, the world through the water. And I was like, okay. And I was expecting to see some huge vision or something like that, because I get a lot of visions. So I broke through the water, and he said, when you break through the water, say, I forgive you. And I did. So I broke through the water, and I go, I didn't see anything. And he goes, because you're asking the wrong person. You should ask John the Baptist. And I was like, ha, 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 very funny, Jesus. Go get John. So John shows up. So we call in John the Baptist, and he shows up, and he's all excited to baptize me, because this is his vision he got from God as to how to do this and what to do. So he tells me the same thing. He goes, put your head back in the water, plug your nose, and open your eyes. And when you break through the water, say, I forgive you. So this is the vision that I had when this happened, because I was able to get the vision when I connected to John. I guess it was whatever, it was his vision also. So as I was breaking through the surface, I got this huge flash of a vision of single-celled organisms and how we were all little sparks of God. You know, every single atom is a spark of God. Everything is God. The trees, the plants, God is you, me, everything, everyone. The whole planet is God. The whole universe is God. Everything is God in little fragmented forms. So, and then I saw this flash of an evolution, of billions of years of evolution of these single-celled organisms to where we are today. And breaking through the water, you can still see, so he was having me look through the water, and the vision was, forgive yourself for not being able to see clearly, because you are trusting these unevolved eyes. So even though we're really, really evolved species, we think we are, we're not really, we still can't see what's really here. And there's other things here. There's other dimensions, there's other realms, there's other beings, there's, you know, beyond the veil. And to forgive yourself that we have not been able to recognize that. Forgive yourself for believing what your eyes see. So as you were breaking through, I connected, and I was able to say, almost like, I forgive you to God, and then I became God, and God said, I forgive you to me for forgetting everything. And we had like a God link up, where I remembered that I am a God spark, and that I am God, and God is me. And we reconnected. So that was the baptism thing of reconnecting with Source. So reconnecting with source was the bathtub baptism. And then, so that was really, really interesting. So after I had that crazy weird vision, I was sitting on my bed. So I got out of the bath and I was like kind of blown away by that experience. I thought it was very weird. And I wasn't expecting anything else happening right afterwards. So I was sitting on my bed, and then Yeshua said to me afterwards, he said, now we need to install Yeshua 2.0. So Yeshua 2.0, you guys are so sweet. So Yeshua 2.0 is, he speaks to me in like a computer coding, because again, I had such weird programming with Catholicism and religion and weird stuff. So he speaks to me in almost like, I'm really good with computers. I'm really good with blowing them up and fixing them and breaking them and installing new stuff and finding viruses and inoculating them. And so he spoke to me in like a computer term, and he said, you need to install me as your light source, as your firewall. And I was like, okay. So then he was showing me a vision of opening a laptop, installing a firewall, and knowing that all the bullshit gets cut out. There's no spam, there's no malware, there's no intrusions, because I was getting a lot of those things. I was getting wild goose chases by entities and beings that wanted my help and attention, and some of them are only there to distract you from your mission. And my mission is to build an empire and, you know, do all these cool things I'm doing, the TV shows and the movies and singing and my chakra drinks and these apps and channeling Yeshua and helping people to awaken and have their own empires and do this twin flame stuff that I'm working on, this diamond twin flame stuff. So there are beings and entities and energies that want to distract you from all of this. Obviously, he's told me multiple times, Molly, do everything for yourself only right now until you understand all the agendas that are taking place. Because as above, so below, we got bullshit going on here on this planet. We got bullshit going on in other dimensions. There's contracts, there's karmic contracts. There's all sorts of things going on that we haven't really wrapped our heads around or tapped into and understood all that much. So he keeps telling me, empower yourself until you really figure out what's going on. So he was saying it was very important at this time. I don't know if any of you noticed, but the apocalypse happened. That I kind of figured out as well too. All those retrogrades, that was the apocalypse. I went outside one night. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I just felt something calling me to go outside. And I went outside, and the moon was out, and there was a triangle of planets and stars underneath the moon. And I was like, that is really weird. And then Jeff got out of bed. My husband got out of bed, saw that I was missing, and he was like, I need to go find her. So he stumbles out in the front driveway and looks up at the stars. He goes, what the hell is that? And I go, I know, right? So I took my Stargazer app and held it up and charted all the planets and everything that was in the sky, thinking this means something, you know, close encounters, this means something. So I took a picture and then charted all the planets. And while I was charting them, I found that whatever legacies or Greek mythologies and stuff like that that went with the planets were the fucking 4 horses, the freaking apocalypse. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting, because I had a feeling. I was telling Jeff for like almost the last year, I was like, this is the apocalypse. I feel like this is the rapture. And now that's what's happening. So the rapture is happening, and this is what we're ascending, we're expanding and expanding our mind and expanding our reality and seeing that there is more to what our eyes are showing us. Our faulty eyes. We need to look with this eye, not these. So, okay, so that was the apocalypse. And then, so it's all been amping up, and I've been really paying a lot of attention. And after that apocalypse happened, I mean, this is when Yeshua was like, listen, you need to install me. Shit's going down. And you need to install me, and you need to trust me. And I had major trust issues with him, and I kept fighting him and resisting him tooth and nail. And I was like, I'm afraid to install you. What if all the cool gifts go away? And he's like, they're not going to. The bullshit's going to go away. And I was like, all right, well, that's cool. So he was reminding me when I was having the trust issues, he was saying, is anyone in the history of your planet that you can recall ever died for you without knowing you, without having any qualms, freely accepting their death and sacrificing themselves for you? And I was like, you got a point. So that was the faith of the mustard seed that I needed to trust that he is here to help me and to empower me and not take over and, you know, do weird stuff to me. So I agreed to install him. He had me lay down, and he said, okay, so this is the installation that we did, and to inoculate any religion aspects in it, because it's basically activating your Christ consciousness. And your Christ consciousness is your evolution, is you're able to do the things that Yeshua could do, and that's, you know, predict things and heal and you know, really understand and do just really amazing things. which a part of me was like, I'm not worthy of that. Are you kidding me? And he's like, oh my God, please, I need you. And I was like, all right. So we worked through all of that stuff. And many months, I'm writing my book about our conversations, because a lot of them are really funny because I'm such an asshole. But anyway, so I laid down and he said, okay, so this is what we did. So these are the two things. So the baptism thing is one thing. And then this is installing Yeshua. So if you don't have any weird Jesus issues, go ahead and do these things. If you have weird Jesus issues, I posted in my other post, call me, set up an appointment with me, a session with me, or someone else that does religion deprogramming, inoculating the programming, neutralizing this programming, so that you can trust this dude, because he's really cool and he really loves you and he really wants to help and he's very powerful and he is like the direct link to the divine source of pure love. So we need to start trusting him. Okay, so of course he starts talking to me in computer terms, because I don't have any judgment on computers. Computers aren't trying to fuck me up and whatever. So they're neutral to me, a computer. So he had me lay down and he said, okay, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to download, he calls it Yeshua 2.0, because again, he's very funny. He says, because Yeshua 1.0 got crucified. So he says, we're going to do Yeshua 2.0, the second coming of Yeshua, the second coming of Christ, Yeshua 2.0. So, and this is what I downloaded. So he says, okay, so just like when you are downloading a file from the computer, you download it from the internet. So he says, download this file from the divine internet, the God internet, the source internet. So download this Yeshua 2.0 file, see it pop up on your computer screen whenever it's ready to load, and then click the little button for it to start installing. And while it's installing, if you've ever watched software and stuff like that be installing, you see the files are unwrapping and starting to program. You don't sit there and look at them and go, what's that doing? What's that? What file is that? You just don't judge it. Just know that it's there to protect you. That's what it's doing. So you just kind of watched it unfold, watched it unravel. And the people that I've activated this in so far, we've all been having pretty similar visions, which has been really cool. And that's, I want everyone to have their own vision, but for my own vision, it was, I could see it being installed into my own energy field, and then I bumped it out to be installed in my whole matrix, everything that I am connected to, installing him in my energy field and beyond anything that I am connected to. So I installed him and just laid there and watched him install, and I could see like binary codings and stuff coming up. It was very, very interesting. And after a while, the visions kind of started to fade, and then I opened my eyes and he said, just rest, let it integrate, but no, the bullshit is over. And it really was. I talked to all these people, like friends of mine, within a couple of days, within a week, within a month. People kept saying, you know, you're shifting really fast. You're manifesting like no one's business, the stuff that you're doing. You got so much clearer on things. My spidey senses have just intensified. And what he shows me is he becomes almost like a bouncer. He's a bouncer to anything that wants to talk to me. So anything bullshit, he's like, fuck off. And yes, Yeshua curses in my head because he knows I dig that shit. So he tells things to, you know, you don't have any access to her. You don't have any right to her. You don't have any access to her at all. And the bullshit cannot activate me. And two other people that I installed this in about a month ago said the same thing. They said, oh my God, all the bullshit ended. I used to go on just these never-ending entity chases of, I would think I need to do this and think I need to do that, and then nothing would happen or nothing would come of it, or it would be a total dead end or a waste of time. That all stopped. That all stopped with me, and it stopped with other people, and other people started noticing it with me too. They were like, okay, when you have something weird going on, you're over it within 24 hours, whereas I used to harp on things for months, maybe even years, just couldn't get over shit. So once I installed him, all that shit stopped. So now I'm moving much quicker. All of my things are developing quicker. All of my ideas, all of my products, all of my inspiration's gotten much clearer. I've been able to get the next steps, because if you've ever done Akashic record work, you pull up your biggest dream, so when I do Akashic record work, if someone has a heart dream, which is a heart-centered dream, so murdering your wife or your girlfriend's not a heart-centered dream, I'm not going to help you achieve that, and I'm not going to pull any records for that. But if you have a dream that you want to help the world, or you want to make it a better place, or you have an idea or a product that is going to make this a better world and make things easier for other people, then I can pull records and pull the steps for you to be able to accomplish that. If you can see it and I can see it, I can pull the records for it. So that's what I do with myself. I do that with my husband. I do that with my friends, and I do that with my clients. And it's gotten so much easier since I've installed him. So I'm going to wrap this up. I think I've been talking for eons and eons and decades, and I could continue talking until the end of time, which I don't know when that is. So I hope this was helpful. I'm going to make a professional video with my husband, who, thank God, he's a cinematographer and an editor, so he can edit down all the channeling, the babbling, and actually just get to the protocols. So I'm going to re-record this video next week with just the modalities of the baptism and the installation of Yeshua 2.0. And I really appreciate you all being here. This was a big moment for me to get my face out there, because I have been freaking the frick out with all of this stuff going in my head, thinking, I'm going to be murdered for talking about this. People are going to think I'm crazy, but I like this level of crazy. It's very empowering and it's fun, and the stuff that's happening is just way too exciting to not do this. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, and love and light to you all, and I'll talk to you soon. How do I stop this recording? Oh, there's a finish button. Okay, cool. All right, love you all. Happy Yeshua installation. And if you have some weird religion stuff, programming, message me. We can set up a consultation and a session, and I can deprogram that, inoculate it, and neutralize it. And if you don't want to work with me and you want to work with someone else, just make sure they know what they're doing with the religion, that they know how to deprogram religion. That's one of my specialties, is deprogramming religion. So otherwise, if you're ready to go, then install those two things, do your baptism. You don't have to do the baptism if you don't think you need to. At least take a soul bath. If you have been in the Catholic Church or been baptized and you feel that you need to do it, what I kind of recommend is just anyone who's wanting to do it or going to do it. If you're Catholic, I think you kind of just have to. But if you are questioning on whether or not you need to do it, then go into a meditation and ask for a yes or no. You should be able to see yes or no, or hear yes or no, or if you do pendulums. I don't do any of that stuff. But if you need to find out if you need to do the baptism, then just go within, ask within. Do you recommend that I do this? And you'll hear yes or no immediately, and go with whatever you hear immediately, and do it, and just suck it up and do it. I know it's weird, but just suck it up and do it. Anyway, I wish you all the best, and I look forward to hearing some feedback about what has transpired. I've had some people who've had profound visions immediately after following it. They've had profound visions during it. So follow up with me. I want to hear what's going on, because I'm documenting how this is working, because it's been pretty crazy. So thank you all for being here, and look out for my professional video where I don't ramble quite as much and I stay on track and focused, and I love you all, and good luck. Take care. Bye-bye.